Morning, everyone. We have a tighter range here today. Opened, or at least had a high of, well, it looks like it might have hit 48.50. Yeah, looks like that was the high.
Still a thin ladder.
Still a very thin ladder. Certainly have more than a 10-point range. We have 20, 21, 22, 23-point range. So we are looking at 45 degrees thin ladder. Again, we'll be looking at the 10 minutes. And I think we'll also be looking at the scalps as per normal with the two-part component with the tick and the tick agreeable and the F angle.
Expect the scalps to move quickly though.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly if you're not used to the speed, practice at first in demo. We always talk about practicing. Yesterday the first half of the day was crazy, but then we got to a nice trending type of market. Some nice trades came in, but they were fast. So make sure that you practice that in demo. Make sure you're comfortable with that, and move forward from there. Build success upon success. This kind of market, one can do really well if they're used to the speed. It can also hurt you if you're a little slow and not quite on your game. If you don't feel quite on your game, just wait and practice.
Coming into a volume E. And that just backed off with the volumes. So you're 3 minutes in between, 10 minutes flat, 5 minutes maybe in the process of turning to green. In a tighter range here in the last, pretty much it looks like 940 or so. Looks like 37, 36.50 down to the 26. So 10-point range, but certainly tighter in the greater view of yesterday and today, or yesterday particularly. So your 5 minutes now have come to 45 degrees. Don't have anything to pair that with as of yet. We'd look for a pullback and see whether or not something does come in upward, perhaps even a scalp. At the moment, it looks like we're doing 5, 6 point oscillations here. Still with the thin ladder. It looks like we will keep our stop loss at 4 here today, just given the thin ladder.
Given the news out of China, obviously we've had a gap open, and given the support level that we've had here since just after the market opened, wouldn't be surprised if we do start to move back up and recover some of the ground between Friday and yesterday. You see, we opened near the high of yesterday.
Coming close to a 5.3 with the B bias assisting. Need just that top 3 minute to hold at 45 degrees. Already had a white arrow, so we would need to see some kind of stoppage here, pullback. Let's see if we've got an EK beginning to spike in here with the F. And that backed off there in the E. And we'll lean toward, and the bigger setups at any rate, looking for pullback. Seems to be a little bit more leaning toward that, not as jumpy thus far here today. But there may be some times of momentum where that second arrow may be good if we can see a scalp for that. There's our 3 minute coming up to 45 degrees, 5.3 with the B bias. We've had a little bit of a pullback here.
We'll notice all of our minute ergs, 10, 5, 3, and the 1 to just a second ago were all green.
And just a real quick drop there. 2-point drop just as the volumes turned.
Still some noise in the market.
And top 3 minute flattening again. 5 minutes have come in nicely, lost the B, and C is just a little bit flat. That A may come around. C might have, looks like it does have and it no longer has a bias angle agreeable. We do have volume EK coming in downward. No tick though.
That was a nice 4-point drop very quickly. It almost reminds me of fishing for big fish. You get a fish on and he's nice and tame and he's playing with you, then all of a sudden he jumps and market was in a few tick range, look like it's going up, and then suddenly it drops. Now it's dropped.
There's a volume
6 points.
Volume EK, the tick just wavering off of green here.
Deep red biases is like a weight around the market going downwards as well too.
Yeah, huge indication on that. One's turning down. See, there's a big drop there, but just not getting the tick working in the direction that we wanted. Now a real big jump off of that upward. 5 still up. EK almost came in upward, but the market had already moved in that direction.
If one is considered trading live, you may want to try a few test trades just to make sure that the things are working well in demo and that the setups that you're watching are good given this jumpiness that's here right now.
Volume EK maybe coming in upward here with the 317 and the F. Did get an arrow on that and very quickly jumped up there. And I just flattened there with the loss of that setup. Greg, I'm going to take it off the auto center. I just had it on the auto center there, but actually went through a 1.5, and because the auto center was shifting on me, I wasn't able to click on the ladder to get out at a level that I would have been able to without the auto center, and the flatten took me out at 2 ticks down when I went to just flatten. So it's very thin, even though I like the auto center for keeping the ladder in the middle. Just with the jumpiness, being able to get profit is just there in that last situation was a little bit difficult, even though it was right there. It was something where I could have grabbed a point there on that. See the A and the B starting to come, or A and C starting to come to 45 degrees. We have our volume E coming in here. You need to see the tick, which is there, and the F.
E backed off.
Not angling up. We do have, it looks like the C bias on 45 degrees here.
5C.
A bit of a pullback here.
And following just underneath this 5-minute trend line. We can break through that. Even the 3-minute trend line, we're starting to breach that.
Yeah.
push up through this. Of course, we have the horizontal 3350 point of resistance, 33.
That A bias replotted downward. We have a 5B though. That B bias plotted upward. Do a pullback looking for the next white arrow.
Today, pullbacks may more be like 3-4 points instead of a point like we've been looking for in the past.
Possibly.
EK down. K backed off. With the drop. DE, or down, DEF.
Okay, coming back in again. We've already dropped 5 points. F not holding at angle. Now ticking out on the tick. And a thin ladder. Hundreds, tens. To have the 5B. There is a white arrow. Top 3 minutes starting to turn. C bias is angled up though.
Four-point bounce up.
So
There's a white arrow.
and I've got a 2-point target here. See if it does move up through. It did very briefly move up through the 1-point level. Just with the movement we have here today. You can't just target a point. We're targeting 2 here, just given the breadth of movement. Still have the 5B. And tapping on the 2 points. Just fill the 2 points there. Still have our 5B. C's flattening slightly. The 10s are starting to turn up. We see another red or white arrow, sorry. And market is, our ladder's already up at 33. And very interesting. A little bit of a delay here on our charts versus my ladder. By the time that arrow came in on the charts, my ladder was ahead 2 points. So I just was in at 33. We are 35, 36.50 looks like it is the next point of resistance. Just targeting the 2 points here. Just taking, oh wow, I just came down here, went to take the 1 point and it was already down below that. So the market has pulled back a bit. I'll retarget the 2 points. 5B is still there. See the 1s coming in nicely. It looks like the ticks are starting to turn up.
1s, even 1C.
5C, 5.3, sorry, 5B, 5C, 1C.
Just need to see the volumes turn. You said the ticks are turning, rightly so. E is coming down, though still in green.
again pressing up. See if that 2-point target will work. Just, oh, again, with the speed of the way things are moving, that attempt at the 1-point lock-in was just a little bit late. May fill now, did fill now on that 5B. Slight flattening on the C, flattened. B has started to lose a bit of its angle. There is a scalp perhaps coming in here with the 1D, and of course the 5B continues to be there. So got in there at 35.25 based on the 5B. Coming up here, tapping on the 2 points and through it. So that was just 4.5 points there captured here today. So we'll move to extras tracking. So we'll move to extras tracking here now. This is a pullback in relation to the 5B again. See the volume E coming down. Nice view of a bigger pullback here. Looking at that arrow as a pullback arrow, still with the 5B upward. Seeing perhaps the ticks starting to turn. And there may be a scalp downward, but just paying attention in this thinner ladder to the bigger setup being in place, looking about a trade in that direction. Looking for scalps to overlap that direction as well. See the 3 starting to turn up.
Tick starting to turn up. Coming very close to a 10.5. With the B support.
We do have the 5B though. There's an arrow. 36.50. I was for a moment almost able to get 35.50, but it then went ahead to 36.50 and now it's pulled back, but I have a 4-point stop here. Still with the 5B. Need to move that stop back. The 32.50 at 4 points is pretty much at that point of support. And can look to, because it's the 10s are in agreement. Well, actually we needed 3s to be in agreement to be able to consider adding contracts to this. Looking for the smaller charts to begin to push up. Our 3s are in agreement now. 5.3 with the 10s, even 10.5. May be able to, and looks like, yeah, down. Went through that 5-point stop there. And that was the appropriate place for that stop. Still look for this to come right back in again. You can see just how jumpy it still is here today.
Shorter charts 1D, the J. Volumes at the bottom starting to turn. see if we may get an EK coming up.
5 minute has gone flat. 10 minutes flat. B, C gone. So nothing in the bigger charts now. Down. Just looking at scalp upward, if that does come in, as you say, with the EK. I do have the 1D downward with the F, so there's two possibilities here, direction-wise. There was an arrow downward on that scalp with the 1D. 1 point target in terms of the scalp here today, 28.25. It did touch on that very quickly. Still with the 1D, see the 3 minutes turning. Looking to turn into this with the C coming in, B as well. See that 5 minutes starting to flash red, so we may start to come down here. Nothing to transition to on this scalp, though the threes, as I say, are starting to turn. Again, just keeping a bigger stop here, even on the scalps. Not as sporadic as yesterday, but still very sporadic. Very jumpy because of the thinness of the ladder. Still with this 1C, see your D is flattened, 3 minute flashing in and out. We see this as a 3 minute trend line, as well as the low below that at 26. That is the low of the morning, in fact.
$32.50 is our next support level.
And we are close to, we've lost that. And just got out there at 3 points down.
It was a 1D. We have the 1D coming back in with the tick and the F and the E. It did tap on the point last time, it just didn't fill.
Yeah.
If we had targeted even 3 ticks, 2 ticks, it had moved down a bunch.
There's a 1D coming in again. Just a little bit late on that. Or not even late, it was already through that level.
It had moved already, yeah.
And that's what we wanted to see the first time.
Yep.
Now it's coming into the threes, have now turned into this in terms of the 3-1. That's how we wanted to see that orient, that last move down as the threes were starting to turn. Now we're in a little bit of a no man's land here. Someone's talking about a 3B, but yes, that came in there after the 5-point drop. The threes turned into it again.
Started off as a 1D. And oftentimes we do see the scalps come in, and then after there is a move, the bigger setups come in.
And that's almost what happened that first attempt at it, but the market pulled back to 33.25 and then down again. Bit of a pullback there for this 3B if there's another red arrow. See the ones and the volumes.
we come down to the low of the morning, we could start to close a gap.
There's another 3-point drop.
B is flattened. C has lost its 45 degrees as well.
We have 3-1.
3-1 with the D. And some C. Tapping very close to our low of the morning.
Pretty much at it there with that last push down. Of course, the overnight low was 1871. And we are losing the base 3 here.
EK upwards is coming in. See if that fully develops. K backed off.
Market is moving very, very quickly here. Just with the thinness of the ladder, we've talked about that.
For those of you who may have joined us a bit late, the market is quick. The ladder is thin. There's a lot of noise. Good suggestion is to practice and demo first if you're going to consider anything live. Practice and demo, get a couple of good trades under your belt where you're confident with the speed of the market before you consider anything, because we are getting some nice moves. We're getting some bigger pullbacks as well too.
We are tracking in extras now. We did have first 4 trades did get over the 4 points. Last couple of trades have erased that.
Of course, if you lock in your profits, you get some profitable trades and lock that in. That's always a
3D, looking for a red arrow.
There's the red arrow.
Looking for this to move down here through this level, 2375. Very quickly touched on. Just a 2-point target. Just fill the 2-point target there. Volume D coming in here upward. We already pulled off 4 points off of that last drop. Do have the, no longer the 3D. We have the 3s down, nothing in the B or C. 1s are turned, so unless we see an angle return in the B, C, or D, we are not looking downward. 1 starting to turn upward. See the E spiking a bit upward. That energy could be dissipated just with this bounce off the 23 to the 2750. Look for a quick change in our B or C, C or D. Not there yet. Actually, it looks like it might be wanting to spike up further here. Maybe around the base 1. No, we see a change in the D. F spiking L. That just dissipated. Keeping our eye on, nothing there on that signal. EK perhaps coming in downward. Okay, nothing around those 3s.
2.5 point consolidation zone, and it's moving up and down in that range very fast.
Mm-hmm. Oh, more than 2.5, 4. Oh, there. Yes.
So last minute.
You have the 1D upward. Looks like there's a bit of a spike coming in the F. If we can see that with a white arrow, there's a white arrow. And let's take that order out. It just dropped down without filling that. The D is gone as well, so right where that spot was open, it did not fill it. Just took that order out, lost the setup, almost coming into a 3D downward here.
Have a nice E and F bias, nothing to pair with them.
EK is almost there.
There's an EK.
There's the EK, as you say. And went in twice there on that. I'll just take one of them out here at the break even, just leave the remainder in. 3D coming in behind that. Continue to maybe target the 2 points. It moves through that 1 point level. See, the 23 is the low. Need to watch that D, and the D is now gone. And it took a while there for that to move to that exit spot. And just got out there to point down. Delay in some of the data sending here, it looks like, and that's not unexpected.
Starting right back down.
Nothing around the base 3 though. There's scalp coming in. Volume E maybe coming in downward. Still need to see the tick come in as well. Volume E, very close. Yeah, nothing around the 3s. We will look for scalps in the direction of these nicely formed 3s now, or the base 3. Still the volume's not there yet. We do have a volume E. Has moved down substantially already here, no signal. Looks like our 3C is now in downward. Even the B's coming in behind that 3D on the next red arrow. There's a red arrow, 22, 25. And just having our volumes ticks turn here a bit on us. And still have the 3D. Softened a bit on the B, even on the C.
Shorter term EK up with the tick, not the F. May have to wait for that cycle to go through and back off.
See the D oscillating in and out. The C just starting to flicker now as well.
D is back in.
D's back in, but
we've come back.
Yeah, the smaller charts have really come into play here. They seem to be very active here today.
Bigger support level, 26.25.
$26.25 is the 4-point stop. It did not come to it. I was contemplating as it coming up there, moving it back to 5 points.
Still have a 3D.
Still have the 3D, the C bias in behind it. Need to just move that off the 26.25, which is that 4-point stop. See if we can see some of this begin to move back down again. The ones really have come in strongly upward.
We're just below the earlier low of our morning.
We've lost our D. C bias backing off as well. The 5 minutes of turn, that top one just slightly off 45 degrees. So market is coming back down again here, just seeing whether or not you can see the C bias recover. I'm going to give this a little bit more leeway today as in yesterday.
You should put your target down further because this could drop very quickly because we're right at the beginning of closing the gap.
See that C coming back in again, 5-3. Coming in behind this. $22 is the low.
Still have a nice 3. C is weakened a bit. Top 5 isn't quite there.
Flashing in.
Flashing in and out, yeah.
So just basis to continue to hold this. And C continues to be in around the 40-degree mark. We're seeing those ones turn, begin to show signs of turning as with the tick. So both of those can come together downward. We're oscillating in this range here, however. Smaller charts really do take a strong move in today as they did yesterday. You like them when they overlap with the bigger setups, i.e. the 3-minute ergodics that are very, very nice. At the moment,
5A is weakened as we've come back up to the support level.
Yeah.
Still a nice 3 erg.
Still like to see these ones turn. We're just seeing spiking volume. We're seeing spiking E here. The ones that had started to turn, starting to angle up again here. I'd like to see this come right back down again though as the ticks are turning. If the F can get into red as well as the E, see the volumes turning. That's a good thing to see. That top 5-minute coming back again.
We always say that when you lose a setup, you get out of the trade. It's kind of right on the edge when you pull back and you're right at a support level and it weakens.
You see the smaller charts looking like they're moving in.
Yep.
We do have a range here of 25.75 now, down to the 22. And quite frankly, just keeping our stop above that, just seeing how it oscillates within this range. See both our C and B now have flattened, the A still down.
If you don't feel comfortable with your stop that high, you can move it closer, just above this support level.
And hit the 26 here, 25, which was the last level. And seeing the 3s begin to turn off, so we're going to have to just exit that.
Very strong 1 volume coming in, 1 volume EK. And it's backing off.
Four points down on that one. A lot of oscillation there. A lot of coming in and coming out again with its setups. Look like those smaller charts were turning into it. They never quite did. I think they actually will, and it will move down, but I'm not sure if we'll have a setup for that. May possibly have a scalp, but we have, again, 3-minute trend line that we're up against here. We have another point of horizontal resistance at 27.50.
Very quickly lost our D bias. D was angled up. E is still spiking up. EK.
EK coming in here upward.
Need the tick in the F to agree with that.
Starting to turn in the 3 minutes. And do not see where our E is at this point in terms of its angle. It's off the chart. Top 10 minute, not there yet.
A bias is angled down sharply.
See, we do have a volume a D in that last arrow. And just not able to get that level that I was trying for. Just leave it there to see if it will fill at that. And just in the course of that, our volume dissipated here. D spiking though. And just having to, my ladder is not responding here at the moment. It's starting to move up anyway through that level. I was going to take 2 ticks down. It does feel like it wants to press up here, however. Perhaps the
We don't have a setup though.
Yeah. There we go. I just had to flatten the ladder, just kept populating, kept delaying on its movement and then populating it 5 seconds later after I had already tried to do it again and ended up doing both. So there is some data transmission errors here going on. I did gather 2 ticks on that initial one and then had to get out break even on that double entry there. Interesting how that worked out with the loss of that scalp, but still managed to get 2 ticks with the transmission error on the ladder. See the 5 starting to turn up.
Volume E down, need the tick. As you say, the 5 starting to turn up. Even with 5B as that top 5 erg sticks.
Yeah, it does look like it's in place.
Shorter term point of resistance, 29.50, although we did spike up to 30.50. 29.75 even.
5B on the next white arrow. That does come in. See some sharp D and E, at least in their thickness. Doesn't say much. We've seen all of those change in very quick fashion here. At the moment that 5B is there, there's an arrow. $33. We will need to see it move through this level up.
30, you mean?
Sorry, 30. My target's at 33. 33 looks to be the next point of resistance there from earlier this morning. It did move up to, looks like 38.75 or so, 38.50, 39. But there was a range of consolidation with about a 33 level of resistance. Still with the 5B.
Still have a 5B down to a support level. just lost our 5 erg on that replot and the B.
Yeah, I had to take a 5-tick loss on that. Quick change there, the 10s, nothing to transition to. So just not a lot of trending here at the moment. Some of the scalps in and of themselves seem to be moving, but a lot of them are having their energy transmitted even before we see a signal, and the market is ready to oscillate in the other direction. So the bigger setups we've seen worked early on this morning. Last couple have not worked altogether well. Here's the move up again, which we were looking to see happen on that last base 5.
Nice tick F move.
Mm-hmm.
Our bigger picture, the 10s and the A have been conflicted. The 5s have been conflicted, not a nice sine wave pattern. They were nice for the first couple of trades. We had a couple of 5B trades, but they've gone conflicted. So talk about the lack of trending. The bigger picture, I see us just above our low of the morning, just going back and forth, market trying to decide if we're going to try to push through this low and maybe close the gap or bounce off this.
Conflicted 5s, conflicted 3s. Top 10 minute, just a bit off 45 degrees. Again, nothing in the A, B, or C. Just have these scalp levels here at the moment. We do have volume E, volume D. Interesting to see this next scalp, just to track it, if it does come in with the 1-point target. Just fill the 1 point there on that scalp with the volume E, volume D, 1 volume. You may see a scalp right back up again here. Scalps are very difficult here today as well. And again, not something that we're on first blush looking at bigger setups, but we don't have anything there at the moment. We do have some confluence of scalp indicators with, in that last case, the 1 volume D and E. Ten minutes, the top one again flashing. See those 3 minutes now both green. We've got 30 seconds until our 10s and 5s replot here. Let's see what comes of it there. We have our 3-minute trend line upward here, which we're holding. Given what we've seen the last couple of days, today included, we are in a tight range, even though the range is 7-8 points. Well, we do have the 10s now 45 with a slight angle on the A. Weaker setup 10, but certainly a setup 10. We see a scalp maybe coming in association with this. So we'll look for next white arrow, which if we moved up here, there's a white arrow. Have a higher target. Let's see if even move through the 1 point on the scalp basis and be able to even lock that in. And the setup 10 is there. We still are deep in the red with the A bias. Let's see if this can develop as the 3s are starting to turn up on that last plot. 5's flashing red as well, or green as well. You see development upward here if we can see these 1 minutes begin to turn up. Even have a higher target here, we could begin to develop to push upward through that 33 level, 33.50 level, even up to that 36, 37 level. Let's see if that can develop here. The 1s coming in behind this. 3s are certainly up nice. 5s continuing to flash.
$24.50 is our bigger support level. Pushing right back up to our 29.50, our shorter term high.
See that 5 is plotted with some angle on that. Oh, it's flashing here again.
So we just moved our stop down to 24, a little below that support level. See that on the ladder? Just waiting for this to push through. Nice 3s coming in, as you say. The 5's staying now. Slight angle on the A bias. Nice 10 ergs.
B as well. 10, 5, 3. Green, at least 10 and 3. Need to see these 1s begin to turn up, which may be doing that tick, maybe following fashion. See if that can develop in this tight range here for about 5 minutes. And truly a tight range, 1.5, 2 points. Need to see some of those bigger biases begin to move into green. B and C are close to being able to do that.
See them move into green and become stronger. The ergs there, we just need the biases to come in and push this up. May see it with the F and the E, giving glimpses of stronger angle. They back off. Entry is an area of point of resistance we need to burst through. When we do, it can easily go up to the 30-50.
One minute starting to turn green. Need to see those biases come in. F again continuing to spike. $10.5 almost here as well. 5 is oscillating. Still with our setup 10. Still here, ticks starting to turn up here, a little bit of spike in the F. See the volumes, sorry, the ones. Volumes look like they're flattening and turning. Three spiking up a little bit more again. Still in this range. We've been in this range here now about 6 minutes. Five minutes plotted. Conflicted again. So we are just with this setup 10.
Shorter term volume E coming down. Need to wait for that to move through its cycle. Would like to have that come right back with a nice EK. Saw the tick flashing green. The ticks even for the last 6 minutes have been out of their sine wave pattern. Very chaotic. Longer turn, and the top 10-minute erg is starting to flatten down as we move down here. Still have a slight A bias.
Coming back into 45 degrees with this bounce off this level here.
Here's the EK coming in. Nice FL. The tick may get a push up here. If we can have that green K across the attack, the red attack. In the K attack, the green crossed the red line. It backed off.
See what these ones still trying to turn up. Again, the tick's just not in any manner of pattern here at the moment. Conflicted 5s and 3s here. Ticks may be coming in together upward. We may see a spike in the F. There's the ones that have plotted better upward. Here's the tick. Maybe getting convergence in the tick. That F backed off, however. Still with our setup 10. See the ones turning up there was a little bit more angle on the ticks. They've continuing to spike with the F. Let's see if that E can continue to move up as well as the D.
DJ coming in. J just backed off. But certainly an EK coming in with the F.
Back close to the break even. There's the 1 ED spiking, EK. Very nice 10A now, so as well as the setup 10. And this is a nice move here. This is what we were looking for. We'll just lock in 2 ticks here on this setup 10. Did wait for that for a period of time. Do have a green 3s. So at 29, was able to compound there. Keep that half a point locked in here still. Effectively a half a point with the level there. And another compound level there at 33, which was 4 points off of the original entry. Sitting on 2 points here right now at the 31. And just got taken out there. I'm going to put 2 ticks on that setup 10. Look for another entry here, also with the 10A. Looking for a white arrow, setup 10 and 10A. There is a white arrow. My ladder's just acting a little bit slow here. So 2-point target on the setup 10A. Higher target on the setup 10. Can try to look at this compound again here by adding another contract at the 2-point level as well as the 4-point level. $37, $38, $38.50, probably that last or next bigger high. So I've got an exit there at 2 points for the setup 10A, and I've got a compound at 2 points and 4 points for the setup 10. You have a green 3s, which allow us to compound. Can even target 3 points with the 10A, which I just moved it to. Still have the Still have the 2-point target for the compound for the setup 10. It does move through that and doesn't hit the 3 points on the setup 10A at 34.25. I will manage just looking at an exit at the 2 points, or lock in at the 2 points. Sharp information here though with the 5s turning. 3s up nicely with the C. A, the only bias not in agreement right now, and the bigger biases is the B. There, just filled that compound thing, just touched on the 2 points there, filled the compound trade. Moving up here back to the 2 points again. I can move through that. I'm going to exit, or at least lock that in for the setup 10A. Tapped on it several times here again. Do have the bigger setup 10. See our tick oscillating in and out here. Opened up here at the 2 points, still keeping the 3-point target for the setup 10A. See the tick coming against us here a little bit. Just took 2 points there on the on the 10A.
It's always good to lock in profit. Looks like it is going to may push up a little more.
Still have the other compound there set at 35.25. Still tracking this, looking for another setup 10 entry with the pull 10A, sorry, entry with the pullback here on the next white arrow. There's the next white arrow on that. Tapping on the 1 point there, targeting 2 points. Fill the 2 points on my 10A, and did hit and triple, or did the 3 compounds on the setup 10. Did hit the 35.50. I'm going to lock in
Locking in a tick. I know you're moving your
locking in a point now, which is 3 points.
Move your target higher.
Target is higher here.
Because it can shoot up very quickly. We've seen in these markets here, the thin ladder, it can shoot up 3-4 points very quickly.
I'll just get out here at 36.50 here.
with that tenor going flat.
So just 9 3/4 points just on the calculation there on that last setup 10 exit. It actually went a little bit further. I was at a 36.50.
It was a compound. It is more aggressive.
Yeah.
And aggressiveness can pay off. Understand when things get more aggressive, you have to play them tight to be conservative. It was very nice.
Do have a 5A here on the next white arrow.
Pull back 1 1/4. There we have the arrow.
39.25. Again, this just being the base 5, just given our run up here, we move through that 37 level. We do have the high of the morning of 48.50. Interesting to target higher, at least a 3-point target here. See if we can scale this up. Or scale this up, trail this up. See that 10 starting to come back to 45 degrees. That was a good few trades there with the 2 setup 10 opportunities. The one compound just worked out for a 1/2 point. The next one worked out quite nicely for almost 10. And then in the course of that, having 2 trades with the 10A for 2 points each as well. So our moving up here, still with this 5A, now coming into a 5B, 5.3 as well. Did move through the 1-point level. Almost touched on the 2-point level at the 41.25, but did not breach that. Do have, as I say, the 48.50. Interesting if it does move up to that. I will just target higher, even just 46.50 at the moment. Or even just 46.25, make it a nice even level there. I will lock in a point here at the moment at 40.25. Maybe 1/2 point, just to give it a little bit more play room. 2 points did open up there, and but looking for this in terms of maybe a bigger push up to that 48.50 level. 5s have come in, or are super nice now with the A. The B is backed off here slightly. 3s are there. And if you are trailing or tracking this, even just taking the 1 point, or if you decided as it moved through the 2 points to lock that in, this may come back in, and it did take me out there on that 5A at half a point. We'll look for this as a pullback and another opportunity. And we still have the 5A, starting to see a bit of the 3s turn here, so we may have some 3 effect against us. We still have some spiking there. There's a 5A arrow at 40.50. And we may try to target higher, but this time if it moves through that 2-point level, 42.50, we'll look to lock that in. Seeing the press up to 41.50, almost 41.75. See the volumes beginning to turn, spiking in the E. Still thick green bias on the C, even though the 3 minutes are beginning to turn. This is a little bit of a challenge spot here. It can move through the 41.75, and this can move up to at 48.50. Targeting just a point below that. But again, if it moves through the 2 points, still have to move through 41.75 first of all, though.
A buy is flashing green. 30 seconds, the 10 and 5s will plot new candlesticks. Be interesting to see how it changes their ergodics and biases.
You do have the 1s and the ticks down at the moment. 15 seconds.
39 is a support level from the last couple of minutes.
Pressing back up to the break even.
A bias went flat.
A bias went flat, and actually got two ticks on that. I was trying to get out of break even and it went higher on me. So two ticks on that 5A. And here it is moving through this level, which is what we wanted to see, or at least tapping on it. We'll move through here.
C bias is starting to tick up now.
5C, if we can get in, still at the previous arrow level of 40, and I clicked on that, but the mark there it's actually populated now. Just a bit of a delay on that. Just getting in at the same level as the arrow came in there. The first arrow came in there, 41.75, with the 5C coming in behind that, which we were able to do. 42.75. tapped on a 1 point level, and the C bias is now gone. I just got out of break even.
10 ergs are there nicely. That top 5 erg is flickering in and out of 45 degrees.
Yeah, just got out of break even on that 5C.
May consider a 10-5 here, Darren, with the B bias supporting it. A is flat.
B bias starting to show angle now. So if we see another white arrow then, let's take a look. The 5s look like it's angled up there at the top. Getting a lot of in and out here, pressure not lining up necessarily with the setups last couple of opportunities, but still managing some gain. Looking for a white arrow here on a 10.5, even 10B now. Another little bit of a pullback. $1.7 million contracts traded today so far. So again, another boisterous day or morning as yesterday. Looking for a white arrow. See the C bias coming back in again as well. 3 minutes still at the top, one red, one green. This may break through quickly here. And no arrow here. This was the move we wanted to see in the last base 5 there. And it did pull back. It's moved ahead since then about 2 points. Would have been tapping on the 2-point target here. However, we are looking for a 10.5, 10B white arrow. Nicer pullback here. A significant pullback. There's a red arrow that gives us solidification of our pullback. 10B, 10.5. Still there, that A bias flashing into red again. Point of support here, 42, even 41. And that scalp came in strongly with the volume EK through that, that 41 level. C bias angled down sharply. B bias is still there. 30 seconds for the 5 minutes to replot. See what kind of change that brings about. Bigger pullback here of 5 points. Still with the 10s. The B bias is now gone. 5 minutes replotted in red. So nothing here on the base 10s. 5s and 3s are conflicted. We are just relegated to the scalps, but any scalp downward, we've come down here to this point of support here, 39. So would like to see something, some scalp in terms of the 10-minute direction here with those ergodics. we do see these 3 minutes come down at a nice angle, 45 degrees, even the 5s, that would be nice agreement for a scalp downward. At the moment, the 10 minutes are the solid ergodics in the bigger charts, and they are upward. We'll look for scalps in that direction. Maybe seeing a EK begin to develop upward. See the volumes 1 minute starting to turn. 3s have now plotted downward actually quite nicely. 3C may be in place. Nothing on that buy arrow, no EK. Do have the 3C downward, which is the bigger setup. So if we do see a red arrow, it changed in our tick there. C bias started to soften a little bit. Greater than 45 degrees, now back to it, even flashing off of 45 degrees. A bit of a push up here, almost to 41. Maybe seeing this 3C come back in again, a little bit of flashing back down again, and that's C bias. Do have the volumes up. Do have the 1s beginning to turn up, so that is a pressure holding it at this level, perhaps even moving it higher. The C bias now off of 45 degrees. 10s are still there, so we could consider a scalp upward with the 10s being in agreement. Volume E, but we will need to see the tick and the F. Tick agreeable, and the F angle. Volume E backed off. We can always come back to that 3C downward. Looks like that's coming back in again with the B starting to angle down. D as well. So the next red arrow on the 3C, there's a red arrow that came in. Watch this closely. If it moves through the 1 point level, even locking in the 1 point at 37.50. Did tap on that 1 point. 3C has come in nicer with the 5 minutes now turning down. Tapped again on the 1 point, not able to lock that in. 37.25 is the next point of resistance. 3C there, nicely, 5s turning into this. 1 10 minute going red. And move down through that and just fill the 2 points there on that 3C. May move down here even a bit further. We will need to look for a bit of a pullback here in terms of considering another 3C. 3-point target looks like it would have worked there at 35.50, even a 4-point target coming close. Do have our pullback here. 3C still strong. Those 5s look like they're 45 degrees as well. So the 5s have turned here nicer. Looking for the next red arrow. Looking for a red arrow. It's already dropped down here 2 points. There's a red arrow. Just came in. And we'll just exit one of those there so that there's my entry there at 34.50. Tried to get the 34.50 initially and did not fill that. Ended up taking the 34.25 and it filled the 34.50 before I could exit that. So just got out of the 34.25. The 5C is still there. 5.3, 5C, 3C. So we do have a bit of a pullback here, just with our ones volumes tick turning up. And got out of that other one at the 34.50, which, because the 34.25 was the first entry on the ladder, took me out at a tick down. So the 2-point target here would, in effect, just because of that double entry, would be effectively a 1.75. Still with the 5.3, 5C, 3C, B bias in agreement, looking for this to come back down again. In fact, I just looked to target 2.25 off that original level. And still have the 5.3 starting to soften a bit on that C bias. Our smaller charts are in a buying zone here right now. Let's see if this can come right back down again here with volumes turning. See that C bias coming back into red. Of course, you do have bigger stops here this last couple of days just because of the thinness of the ladder. One volume, E, F, those are all angling up here, so having the pressure upward, we lost our C bias, and I had to get out there at 37. Two and 3/4 point down on that. See if there is a scalp that come in here again. Downward, the 5-minute looks like it's starting to come back. The C bias has a recovered angle for 5.3 again. This is what we wanted to see here, but we ended up losing that setup. Had a sense that once there's the arrow, had a sense that once we turned on the volumes, we'd see a bit of a jump down. Indeed, we did. Still have the 5-3, 3C. Of course, we did come in right there as the pressure came down again. That's where the first arrow was, and the setup returned. We'll need to see these volumes turn, and perhaps ultimately these 1 minutes finish their cycle. In the meantime, this is coming offside of us here again. Our setups are re-emerging after a push, and then the smaller charts just surging in the other direction here. I've had this happen the last couple of times here. Let's see if we can come back down here again. Top 5 wavering here a little bit, still with our C bias pretty much at 45 degrees. Let's see if these volumes can turn down. Volume EK maybe coming in downward. Ticks may be turning. Still those 1 minutes are off on us. 5-3 still there though. C bias 45 degrees, a little bit of flash. Volumes beginning to turn. That's nice to see. See if that E bias can move into the red.
F going into the red as well. Tick turning down. Very nice.
That's what we want to see. 3D now is flashing in, as well as the 5-3. And just quick a bounce down as a bounce up there. Let's see if this continues to develop. A lot of bounciness. We've seen this all day, basically.
5 weakening a little bit, the top one. Still nice 3s.
C bias still in agreement. Still with our 5-3, B and C. Waiting to see these 1 minutes are beginning to flatten here. And this could be what we're looking for here to test this low. Target 3 points here even. On this base 5, C is coming quite nicely now. And that 10 minutes starting to turn. We need to see this break out of this broader consolidation here. 35, and then below that 33.75. Tapped on the 35 a couple of times. Volumes down nicely, seeing the 1s begin to turn. At the moment our tick in a green cycle, though our F's still there. Tapping the 35. And did move through that level here. $33.75, almost touched on that again. 5's still there, 3CD. Volumes down nicely, just our tick is in a zone up here.
Seeing the ticks move up in the shorter term. Still nice 3s down.
Coming back here to tap on that point again, point level. Again, we need to see it move through the 33.75. If it can do that, it can really move through that zone even down a bit further to 30 even. I have a 4-point target here. The 1 point is open. It hit the 33.75 but did not move through it.
At this point of resistance, if we can break through here, we could have a bigger drop. We saw that going up.
5s are nice. B, C, 10-minute top one starting to flatten. See the tick beginning to move down, 1 starting to turn. 33.75 again. It did move through the 33.75. Tapped very quickly on 2 points. And moving down here, I'm going to lock in 1 point. Got myself hovered over 2 points. I've got my target down there at 5 points.
Very nice. Nice drop, just like we saw earlier today. You break through a point of resistance like that.
And it's hovering here in this 2-point range here, contemplating taking 2 points. We still have strong information down, but we're starting to see our smaller charts tick up. Here, moving back down. Very nice to see. I can move through those 3 points. I may just lock that in. In fact, I may even just target that 3 points right at the moment there. Just targeted and filled the 3 points there on that 5-3.
Bouncing right back up. Shorter term, we have a volume DE coming in.
So we had the volumes, the ticks, some of the bias, of course the F. That was our pullback, so that was a good place to take the 3 points. Had a pullback with a white arrow, can look for a 5-3 again on the next red arrow. There's the next red arrow, 33. (5-3) still there with the B assisting, C's coming back in again. See the 1 minute's turning red. Do have the ticks turning green here, our volume sort of midstream, flattening, E bias, red. See, this is again one of those places of consolidation, even bounce up with the smaller charts. 5-3 with the B bias still there. If we move through the 31.50, which is that low, I'll look to lock in even a couple of ticks at 32.50. May need to wait for these volumes. See the 1 minute's flattening from their turn, though starting to waver down again. Need to watch the 5-3 with the 3 minutes starting to curve at the bottom. Maybe near the end of this move with the 3 effect coming in. And starting to lose that level. I just got out of break even on that 5-3. Oh, the C bias now has come in sharply just on that look off there with the 3 flattening. And then when I got out and looked back, the C bias had come in at angle. So
if someone wanted to continue to hold that, that is reason to hold that.
yeah, I just did not see it at the time.
For tracking purposes, we're out of break even. Just keep an eye on the C. Of course, the 3s are turning at the bottom. They haven't turned green. It could still get a push through. Shorter term, there's a volume E coming up.
Volume E, K, coming in sharply. We don't have any agreeable ergodic upward. Our ergodics are downward here at the moment. 5C, though we do have our 3s starting to turn, which can have that 3 effect. So we need to watch that particularly. Seeing that 3-minute beginning to turn, seeing the beginning stages potentially of a 3 effect upward. Perhaps even a solid 3 turn. Our 5 minutes are just halfway down their cycle, so it may be just an extended pullback as opposed to a change in direction. Do have one volume coming in upward, but no tick to even begin to consider a scalp. One D volume. Again, we're coming right back up here, 38.25. Point of resistance. We're basically 6 points off that 31 or 32 level, 31.50. The longer the 5C, five minutes are down though. If we do see a scalp downward, that would be something to perhaps consider, just depending on what the information is. We've been avoiding some of the scalps here today just in and of themselves, though there have been some movement based on those. They've just been very jumpy, looking for some ergodic agreement even with the bigger ergodics just to overlap with that, gain a little bit more energy. Well, even then we've been very selective, looking for very strong information. Fives are down, 10s started to turn both of them red now. That could be our 3-minute effect, the movement from 32 up to almost 38, 6 points of effective movement with the 1s, volumes, and the turning of the 3s. See the volumes beginning to turn down. Our ticks are a little mangled here at the moment again. Let's see if they can come into order. We have the 5s down, B bias not there yet, so if we can see a scalp, well, our ticks has now moved off. They've started to turn up. And stronger turn in one of those 3 minutes. The other one's flat red. I think today we're going to end around 11:55 just to have time to wrap up here and avoid some of the maybe session end jumpiness that we saw yesterday. Volume DE may be coming in downward. There's the F beginning to spike. Do we have the 5 minutes in agreement there? There's a sell arrow for a 1-point target on our volume DE. Tapped on the 1 point. And just filled the 1 point there on that scalp in agreement with the 5 minutes. Do have our 5C here now that has come in. Can be looking for, well, let's see if it does come in here before we're going to end around, as I say, 11:55. There was a, and it didn't fill had the order in. You can see it actually flashed on it and didn't fill it. And that would have been touching almost on 2 points here. Well, I think we'll just wrap now. That was one. If you had been just, well, the market was really quick there. I was actually right on the ball with that arrow, and it just did not fill at that entry and then was down a point before I could select the next entry.
So we're just wrapping up here this morning. I've calculated the totals here for you, Darren. We initially started off, we had an EK, we were down 2 ticks, 5 points on the 5 Bs for 4.5 points that we locked in our regular tracking. Setup 10, we locked in 10.25 points on the regular setup 10 tracking. So we had 14.75 points on our regular tracking. Amazing day. On our extras, always a good idea to lock in your targets. On our extras, we had a bunch of extra trades, some smaller trades, some larger trades. 5B, we were down 6.25, 1D down 2.5, 3D down 3 points, 1 volume up a point, 10A up 4 points, 5A up a point, 5C break even, 3C 2 points, 5C a tick, and our volume D we're up 1 point right at the end. So our extras tracking, we're down 2.25 points. So overall for the day, that would have been 14, just doing this on the cuff here, 14.75 minus 2.25, which is up 12.5 points. So great day. And we are wrapping up into the end of our session here. Thank you everyone for being here. Darren, you've done a great job with your analysis as always. If anyone is on this afternoon, we can see that the last bit, we do have a hard point of resistance going down here at the 31.75, even 32, 32.25 down to 31.50. If we can break that, possibly go down to the low of our morning. And watch for 45-degree angle on the ergs, 45-degree angle on your biases. Practice on your trading ladder. If you want to be more conservative, look for deeper angles on the biases. And be very disciplined. Stick with the rules. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.